Welcome to Who Are You, the Bobcats you know, the stories you don't. I'm your host, Joel Vanner, inside the podcast studio at Quinnipiac University School of Communications. And I'm joined today by my guest, Mo Kothawala. Mo, welcome to the show.
Thanks, I'm glad to be here.
I'm sure you could guess, Mo, what my first question to you is going to be, and that is, who are you?
So my name's Moinuddin Kothawala. I go by Mo for short. I'm a recent graduate from the 3+1 program at Quinnipiac, pursuing computer information systems with a minor in management and a Web Foundations development badge. I'm currently in my +1, which is my master's year, where I'm doing applied AI and business analytics program.
Lot to unpack there academically. But let's first start outside of Quinnipiac. Mo is a kid. What were your passions growing up and what were you involved in?
So growing up, I've always wanted to give back to my community. I've always loved helping out whenever and wherever I could. So I loved volunteering. I loved participating in programs from middle school, after school, and through the YMCA program, doing 21st Century, just helping out with different types of skills that students can gain from their early years in education, going into high school, transitioning into college. So I really loved just helping out in my community, whether it's helping out and volunteering at the Stanford Nature Museum Center, or if it's through school or anything along the lines of my local mosque or religious center in Stanford. You
mentioned the 21st Century program. What was that program? What did you do when you volunteered there?
Sure. So the 21st Century program at Ripple Middle School, it's where I went to middle school, essentially works with the YMCA in our city. And they essentially organize different types of extracurricular activities along with academic activities, both implemented during after school from 2 p.m. till about 5. And essentially they have a good hour and a half, 2 hours of academics take place before they introduce like the recreational piece of it, so that students can see that just because even if you're staying after school to work on your studies, or even if you're staying after school to improve upon a skill that you may not be good at in the classroom, just to give them that encouragement of that there's something else also for you to socialize, for you to network with other students. Even though you're young, or you don't know what networking means, you're just going to think you're playing basketball in the gym or something. But opportunities of like taking field trips to Sky Zone after like getting all your work done, and just basically being able to interact with your peers in a different way outside of the classroom during school hours.
Volunteering sounds like it was a huge part of you growing up. Was that something you did with your family, with your parents?
It's something I've always myself just really had an interest in, always just giving back, especially seeing how things throughout my life, through events that I've been to personally, how they can't take place without volunteers even. They're a very important piece of any type of event that goes on, having people to help. So I've always wanted to contribute in that aspect. So that's what really drove me to want to get involved in volunteering, not just like in academics, but the recreational piece of it for like the 21st Century YMCA program, and then for even our Stanford Islamic Center, helping count the donations we receive at the Friday prayer afterward. So I'd love to just in any way I can honestly give back.
So thinking about college, Quinnipiac obviously came into the picture somehow. How did Quinnipiac come into the picture for you, and how did you get started on your journey here?
Sure. So originally I wasn't fully aware of what Quinnipiac even was, right? I was still looking at colleges trying to figure out, hey, what do I want to study? What am I interested in? Because like every other student, you don't really know up until like your beginning of like freshman year, sophomore year, you're starting to think about where would I go to college and in high school, you know?
It's a big decision.
It's a big decision, exactly. So I was like, what do I want to do? I knew that my dad runs his own business, so I've always been attracted to the business aspect of how things run. So I've always knew I wanted to do something in business, but I've also had a passion for technology and how it operates and how we're improving upon it, especially with like how advanced AI and everything is now. At a young age, I've always been passionate about technology, so I found a way to research about that by taking a class actually about Giroux. It's a programming language that we learned how to use, like doing Hello World and like these just little prompts and stuff. So that really, doing these classes in high school really like piqued my interest in that area, but I always knew that like it wouldn't be to the point where like I'm going to be coding like from scratch and I'm going to be able to remember these things to a T, you know? So I really did my research, looked at programs like for computer science, for information systems. Like some universities have, instead of, we call it computer information systems, some universities have it management information systems, but essentially it's the same knowledge that you will be learning in that field, you know? So it was really just about figuring out how to put those two things together, find something that has a mix of both. So when I found out about the 3+1 program that Quinnipiac offers, being able to get your bachelor's and your master's in 4 years while also being able to add other accreditations on top of it. Like I took 3 additional classes to get a Web Foundations Development badge. I learned how to create a website from scratch and learned how to create my own portfolio and stuff. So just these other things that I looking into Quinnipiac, it really like drew my interest for coming here. Especially I applied to multiple schools at the time. I applied to a school further up in Connecticut, more closer to New York even, some schools in Jersey. So all over, I wanted to be well-rounded when applying, but ultimately after doing a college prep academy and participating in that in my senior year of high school, that really helped me see Quinnipiac as a great option in terms of not too close, not too far from home, having the ability to still be meeting these companies that I potentially would want to get in touch with one day and work with, and just the faculty and staff itself, like from taking a tour from...
You took a tour?
Yes. So
tell me about your first time on campus.
Of course.
What was
so
that?
Actually, it was pretty funny. So when I first took a tour, it was a little bit like 2 years after COVID finally like came to an end a bit. So things were still getting back into how normal life was at one point. But essentially, when I came to take my tour, I had a wonderful time. I got to see the beautiful campus. I got to even take a tour of the York Hill campus at the time. We were offering tours of York Hill. So I got the chance to have a tour guide take us up in the shuttle bus and get a whole preview of like the view from up top. Like York Hill campus is beautiful. You can see main campus from there even. It's a beautiful view. So I was really lucky to be one of the last students, one of the few students to get to take a tour of the York Hill campus and the Mount Carmel campus at the time. And it was during summer, so it was a wonderful time to see how nice the weather was here. Being able to like think about you'll get all seasons while being here in Connecticut, not just like it's always going to be hot or cold all the time. So that first visit, like just seeing the layout of the area, seeing the people interacting, even though it was the summer, seeing like employees over the summer, student employees, faculty, staff, just roaming around and not like just thinking, not being stressed. It's just very calm vibe. It just really like spoke to me in a way.
Yeah, you can take a tour like you described, and you can also do the Be a Bobcat for a Day program where you actually, during the school year, you can shadow a student, attend classes, go to their involvements, go to lunch, do anything. That's what I did. That's how I came here. That was a great experience. So you took a tour, came to Quinnipiac, you're in the 3+1 program, you're undergraduate in computer information systems. Tell me about the 3+1 program and how those two connect and the experiences you've had so far.
Sure. So the 3+1 program and the experiences that I have had so far, essentially they really have benefited me in terms of from the friends that I've met, from the people that I've gotten to meet over time through this process, from working in undergraduate admissions as a tour guide. That opportunity opened up throughout freshman year in spring semester. It's something that I was drawn to just because of the environment, being near these individuals with similar interests in like academics, similar interests in extracurriculars and stuff. It really led me to get involved by working for the school as a student employee, getting more involved within extracurricular activities at school, like participating in like investment club or blockchain, or even going to case competitions through companies like Travelers. They had a case competition recently in which students from all schools applied, and a few students from Quinnipiac went, Eastern, Southern, Central, and they had the opportunity to go to the corporate office in Hartford, Connecticut. And we got split among teams, so students from different universities would be on the same team, and you'd have to find a way to work with others with different thoughts, ideas, different ways that even though you're from different universities and stuff, figure out the same type of problem. So I feel like those experiences have really like opened me up into getting out of my shell, because I wasn't always the type to like want to talk to people. Even when I'd say that like I give tours on campus after taking a great tour myself, like that really drew me to want to become a tour guide, even because of how well of a tour I had, the orientation experience I had. Even like I still remember one of my OLs till this day, Kaylee Thomas, like she was an OT major, and she till this day like she really made an impact to me wanting to come here. It just goes into like from the personal experience of like feeling comfortable to be able to want to step out of my shell, go to these competitions, events, extracurriculars even. So I feel like the 3+1 program, even though hearing like +1 and the extra
like
word, it sounds like a lot, right?
Yeah.
But like despite what it sounds like, it's all about how much people show you. It's about how much you can take upon yourself and how much you can handle and stuff. So it sounds scary, but it's really manageable. It's a really great opportunity, even, which I really stress a lot. Like, thinking about it in the long run, like, I would not change my decision for Quinnipiac, even because of how, like, being able to just gain multiple accreditations at such a young age before even getting into the professional field, it's just very beneficial. So that's what really drew me.
And you mentioned that you are a tour guide now after having an awesome tour. You also mentioned something before we started filming, your first day on campus when you were looking for the kickoff event for the School of Business.
Yeah.
You happened upon the dean of the School of Business, but didn't quite know it was her.
So yeah,
tell us about that.
That's a really funny story, actually. I actually mentioned it as my one experience on my tour even. So in my experience, when I first got here, you have Welcome Weekend. And Welcome Weekend is when every single school will have an introduction to the professors, the faculty, the dean of that school, and you will do like a little icebreaker. So of course, like any student, when you're at a new place, you're at a new area, you don't know where everything is. So I was like, who better to know where my own event would be than the School of Business? So I walk in, not thinking twice about what's going on. It's pitch black inside. So I'm like, oh, maybe they're closed. It is like around the weekend time, but who knows? Maybe someone's in there. So I see a light on in the dean's office, but at the time I don't know it's the dean's office. I just see a little door. So I walk in and I'm like, oh, maybe they can help me. So I'm like, hi, I'm a freshman. I'm a first year. I'm just looking for the Welcome Weekend event for School of Business. So this person is sitting behind the administrative assistant desk. So I'm assuming it's the person whose desk it is, right? They're wearing a professional pantsuit. Their hair is in a bun and everything. So I'm thinking like it's the person that works here. So it doesn't click, but they offer me a free piece of merch, like a shirt, and they give me the shirt. And they're like, we can walk to the events together. They point me to the direction and everything like that, trying to because I was like, oh, I'm late. I don't know what I'm doing. Everyone's going to see me walk in late. Like, I don't know.
Calm your nerves, not what you need at this moment.
Exactly. Like stressing out, especially being new here and not knowing anyone other than your orientation group, right? So she gave me that free piece of merch, showed me the direction to the Recreation, Athletic, and Wellness Center. So I went to the where the event was happening in Burcon. And when I get there, it's like 150 people there. We're doing like a Kahoot for like an icebreaker. And I remember this number vividly because we're inside, and then same person walks in, but now they're wearing jeans, they're wearing a Bobcat shirt with the Quinnipiac logo on it that every other first year is wearing, and they have their hair down and stuff. So I'm like, I don't recognize them at the time, but that's the same person that I met at the desk. So still doesn't click to me. They go up on stage, and in front of all these people, they're like, is there a Mo here? And I'm like shocked. I'm like still trying to figure out what's going on. Like, what's happening? Like, it's not even the first day of classes. What did I do?
What did Mo do?
What did I do? And then a person from my orientation group, he puts my hand up like this, and I'm like, oh my God, no, please. And then basically the dean uses me as an example. Dean Rader is like, you should all take the opportunity to always ask questions. It doesn't matter whether you're in the School of Business or not in the School of Business. If you're in a part of the campus that you recognize or don't recognize, you should always take the chance to ask anyone you see a question. We're an inclusive school. Like, we care about everyone. Like, it could be someone you don't know walking down Bobcat Way or walking down the quad or anything like that. But you can definitely feel comfortable enough to ask them, like, hey, is this where this location might be? Or am I going in the right direction or something like that? Because you never know who you might meet. Like, I met the dean of the School of Business without knowing who she was at the time, right? Like,
and you have that moment, that connection
exactly. Now. And then who knew in the long run, like, that connection would open up many opportunities for me, from working as a grad assistant in career development currently at the School of Business, being able to get the opportunity to become the class of 2025 commencement speaker for the School of Business. So just who knew, like, at that moment in time, like, that little connection made over not knowing where I was going could lead to opportunities down the line. So that's why, like, I always talk about that experience. I feel like you never know who you're going to meet. So you should always, like, never hesitate to ask questions, never hesitate to feel unsure about something, because you never know what you might learn or who you might meet along the way.
You mentioned earlier the Traveler's Case competition, and you just mentioned you're a grad assistant in the Career Development Office in the School of Business. What types of resources do the School of Business have for students in the career development space?
Sure. So in the career development space, we have individuals for advising, so that they work with you on this peer advising side for your classes and your courses and what you might need to take and don't take. And on the career development side, specifically, I work on resume reviews, LinkedIn profile reviews, internship searches. So if you're interested in an internship in the specific field, I could try to see what employer connections our university might have through Handshake to basically set up a time to see if a connection at that organization could potentially get you in touch with the hiring manager for maybe that position or that department, depending on the situation, you know? So from LinkedIn, profile reviews, mock interviews, interview practice, essentially anything in the realm of career development we work on, and we do it through appointments, drop-in, anytime that you'd like to stop by. Like, we're there Monday through Friday. I'm there from 10 to 2, but you can always like email me, and I'm more than happy to like stay or have someone else like set up a time with our career development team, like Jill and Dave. They're awesome. They're my bosses. They taught me so much, and I've learned. I still don't know how much I'm going to learn. We have till spring semester, so there's so many other things I've yet to learn from them. But it's just been a great experience so far, being able to take the things that I've learned from trying to apply for a job, trying to apply for internships, to be able to help students get their own now, you know, especially being able to have those resources offered to myself back before I was a grad student. It's good to see that still continues on, even now that I am a grad student, now that I'm currently in graduate school.
Have you had an internship here?
Yeah. So I got an internship at a private local bank in Fairfield County. It's called First County Bank. So I was a seasonal teller / intern there for summers 2023 and 2024. So I worked more on with customers day to day regarding withdrawals, deposits, CDs, like credit card payments and stuff as well. And then more transitioning toward financial statements, to just seeing how day to day working with customers and their finances would translate into the analysis field for a career that I want to go into later on in time after I finish my education. So I want to work in like data analysis, security and risk assurance. So just essentially getting that internship, having the ability to work with the career development team here, getting my resume set for applying and having the best opportunity to put my best foot forward. It was just really what helped me get called back the second year in the summer to participate again in that program. So it was a wonderful opportunity.
What have you taken away from being a 3+1 student in computer information systems and also now in the business analytics and applied AI program? What have you taken away from those academic experiences?
So honestly speaking, like, you really learn how much like you need both go hand in hand. Like business analytics, computer information systems, they really do go hand in hand in terms of you're handling multiple types of information, no matter what type of information. Like in any field, any business, like you're always going to have data of some sort, whether it's relating to engineering, whether it's relating to nursing, healthcare, or anything along those lines. Like any business has information and data. So seeing the mix and match between how to handle data, how to interpret data, how to look through data, right? That really has shown me how much there's so much skills that you can even yet to learn. So pursuing my master's in applied AI and business analytics goes more into like, especially seeing how AI like is being used now, especially in the 21st century. Like now, like how many things are being advanced, how many companies are even utilizing AI. That really drew me to wanting to pursue my master's in that, especially because the information systems piece for my undergrad really helps me get like the foundational understanding of it. But this will really help work on the little details of how AI can be used to help benefit companies or benefit individuals even, and help them with their resume even, right? Like right now, like if you apply for any type of job, you'll see that before a recruiter even gets to see your resume, it'll go through a whole AI database to see if it has those keywords from that job description. So having the opportunity to like, even discuss that story with NBC Connecticut, I had a chance to get interviewed by them and discuss that too. So like just all the like the things that you learn about how much tech and business go hand in hand, like I would have never have thought like, wow, this is how it happens. Like there's so many other steps involved when it involves a business, information needed to run that business, and how like you handle it, and how like learning about it really affects the way like you interpret it too. And
you'll graduate with that base of understanding, right, about AI, that experience through your courses that you need as you go into the workforce today, because AI is everywhere in everything that we do now. Exactly. It's like trying to see how AI can benefit us rather than hold us back per se, or to be afraid of it rather than how it can be used to benefit and make the world a better place. So from your experience as a tour guide, which will never be replaced by AI because you have to physically come here to campus to experience it, right? What is one piece of advice you would give someone who is coming here on a tour?
One piece of advice I would give is don't be intimidated by the tour. Even though it's an hour, it's the hour that you'll get to learn not just more specifically about your major, but about the environment, the culture, about Quinnipiac, about what really each and every tour, they're going to give you their, like, what drew them here and why. You're going to learn the same info, of course, but that person telling you their story, it really goes into what you see yourself and what you see your story could could unfold as, like, through that tour. So don't be intimidated by the hour-ish tour. Like, it's going to really, like, show you whether or not if this place speaks to you or not. Because I'm gonna be honest, like, even though I took one tour, coming back after, like, just doing my own tour, even after seeing that tour, it really, like, I remember my tour guide, I remember my orientation leader because of the experience that they provided me at that time in life. So I just feel like if I were you coming on tour, I would just think of it less of the angle of, like, oh, I need to get all the information down, rather than just feel the energy, feel the vibe around you, just see, like, how people are interacting, how the students are interacting in between class times, like going to each of the locations, seeing what's offered in each space in general, and just seeing the environment and how it just makes you feel. Because if you're not feeling comfortable, which everyone should, right? Like, it's about how things speak to you. So just let the place speak for itself, and I feel like you'll know exactly where you fit in and how you feel.
And do things on your own time to go to the engagement fair where you can meet student organizations. You mentioned the blockchain club. You mentioned the BAIS, Business Analytics Information Systems Society, that you were involved in. Go take advantage of those opportunities and meet those groups.
Definitely.
And open your horizons past the classmates that are in your classes, right?
Yeah, because, like, honestly speaking, outside of your classroom, there are opportunities extracurricularly that you should get involved in. Like, for Muslim Student Association, being Muslim is a big part of who I am. So I wanted to get involved in the organization and representation on campus. So I decided to join my freshman year as a member, and then slowly making my way to run for e-board as secretary for the Muslim Student Association, sending out emails, hosting, reserving spaces for all the different types of events that we have throughout the year, being able to join Greek life in my senior year as a founding father for Sigma Phi Epsilon. That was another experience that I really was never expecting to. Like, when I went into college, I thought Greek life was one certain way, right? But then coming here, being able to go to classes, seeing how other students also came to Quinnipiac with the same thoughts and mindset, but then seeing what it did for them, that experience changed them, right? It really inspired me and opened me up to also wanting that as well. So from Business Analytics Information Systems Society, BAIS Society, joining that, to becoming a guest speaker for their club, for blockchain, learning how to mine data. Like, that's a valuable skill, especially to learn nowadays. So all these different types of clubs, they not only help you socially, they help you learn skills outside of the classroom that you can even try to implement in your class if it applies in that manner, you know? So honestly speaking, without that extracurricular piece of it, I feel like you can't have one without the other. Like, I always tell my tours too, if you come here, expect to sit in your room after classes and all your homework is done and not do anything but that, then it's like you get what you put into your experience.
It's not going to work like that.
It's not going to work unless...
You need that extra.
Exactly. Like, you need a little something to switch things up a bit day by day. So even though, like, you don't have to join, like, a plethora of clubs or do a plethora of things that I mentioned, because it could sound like, oh my God, he's doing this, that, all those other things, etc., right? But you can start off slow. Like, I started off as Muslim Student Association, just a member freshman year, and then South Asian Society slowly sophomore year, Student Programming Board, becoming a member to a volunteer for Fall Fest, and then Wake the Giant. So it's like starting out slow, making your way up, and seeing how these different things make you feel and the impact you have.
And there's plenty of organizations
there's 150
align with
plus.
a passion area too. It doesn't have to be in your academic area. My last question to you, related to academics, what advice would you give students to succeed in the 3+1 program, but just succeed generally?
So advice I would personally give for whether you're 3+1 traditional undergraduate student, 4 years, anything like that, 3+3 law, anything, whatever program that you may be a part of, I recommend time management. It's a big thing, like from high school to college, from any type of education to college experience. Like, it really matters about planning things out, making sure that you have everything written down, as cheesy as it sounds, as much as everyone says it over and over and over. You probably heard it like 1,000 times. It really does make a big difference. Seeing what you have to do, when you have to do it, being able to manage that time so that you're still able to do what you like and not have to give something up in order for something else that you like to happen. Like finding a way to have a balance between your academics, your recreational stuff, from activities, extracurricular clubs, organizations, to even going on a little trip with your friends in midweek. Like it's all about time management. Definitely don't get overwhelmed. Like I'm I get stressed very easily. I'm one of those people that like I'll have assignments due on Sunday and I'll start stressing about them on Monday, right? Even though I have all this time to get things done, I'll be like, what if I have to reach out to the professor to clarify before? What if I do this wrong and I have to redo it before submission, right? It's telling you it's not going to help you in any way to stress. Like at the end of the day, you have all the help that you need. You have the learning commons, you have your professors, you have your classmates, you have all the resources that you need. You should never think that you should never let the stress get you before the assignment or before anything that you think would happen will get you. Like always, again, just be in the moment, live in the moment, think about what you can do. Think about the things that you can change, not the things you can't change. Because I remember freshman year, I was like, I'm really bad at math. I'm going to fail EC 272. I'm not going to do good at MA 170 probability and data analysis. Like, I'm not going to do well. How am I going to handle this? Like, and going to my advisor's office, going to talk to that person, or really getting those methods like time management, all those types of things. You think it's silly, but it really comes in handy at the end of the day. Whether you're an accelerated student, whether you're a traditional undergrad, at the end of the day, if you write things down, if you make a schedule, if you stick with it, and you don't burn yourself out, that's a way you'll avoid burning yourself out. And that's the way you'll avoid letting stress take things over and run your life rather than you running it yourself.
You said it all. You have a community. You have the learning commons, your professor, your academic advisor, your peers, those you're in involvements with. You have a community here to help you not stress about those things and help you develop yourself and learn new things. Mo, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your insights and perspective.
Of course, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This was a wonderful experience, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share, and find other episodes on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube podcasts. Until next time, when I ask my next guest, who are you? I'm Joel Vanner. Bye for now.